Good evening. I want to welcome you to high school. Freshmen, you get to move from the building here that you've been in the last 3 years up to the high school building. I know you've been back and forth for different classes. My name is Heath Halley. I'm the superintendent. This starts my 11th year. Those of you that are new to our district, we welcome and glad to have you. One of the things that Ms. Miller and I have done for the past 8 years, we interview our seniors right before graduation, and hopefully they haven't gotten any trouble so that they can still graduate at that time. But we've interviewed them for the last 8 years to find out what we do as a district that they've enjoyed, liked, disliked. And so after about 5 or 6 years of that, we decided it was time, and it's this year's seniors we started with, talking to the freshman parents and their children, telling them the things that we've learned. So hopefully we can have an impact and make high school a little more pleasurable, something else you can learn from. So I'm going to go through some of the things that our seniors just told us in 2014. Some of the majors that they're telling us that they're going out as they graduate would be in radiology, lab tech, accounting, biology, nursing, chemistry, being education, physical therapist, industrial engineering, auto body and collision repair, agribusiness, diesel tech, power sports. Not sure what that was, I guess. Plant science, music production, digital animation, carpentry, wildlife management, vet assistant, criminal justice, dental assistant, and auto tech. So our kids are leaving and going and doing lots of stuff. The colleges, IHCC, NCMC, MU, Drake, Mo West, Truman, Grand River, Northwest, Lynn Tech, Kirkwood, Moberly Area Community College, Central Methodist, Missouri Southern / Ozark Christian, and Pensacola College. So those are some of the universities that our students are leaving here and will be attending in the next few weeks. Influences: college reps, job shadow day, college visits, math classes, A+ tutoring, ag classes, building trades, and cadet teaching. So those are some of the things that you're going to want to get involved in to help you gain experiences. Things that they like about high school that we need to keep doing, and things that you dislike. Yeah, we ask what we're not doing well because we want to get better. Teachers are very supportive. Teachers push students, and it's a hands-on approach. Study skills, sports, facilities, clubs, and activities are things they liked. This was a good one. Food: students should be surveyed on their favorites, then just serve those meals. Unfortunately, Ms. Obama disagrees with that, all right? So we do our very best. The seniors like the new cell phone policy of being able to use cell phones before school starts. And I'm sure, are you going to share? All right, I won't. We had a bunch of kids come to a school board meeting and request additional changes, so I think you all will like those even better, and especially since you're going to be out of the middle school, because the middle school doesn't get new cell phone policies, okay? Dislikes: can you believe the attendance policy? Having to be here. Seniors would like to have drinks in the hallways. Not going to happen. Students would like more slots in their schedule to take more classes. That's a great thing. One of the dislikes is that we need to offer more medical and/or automotive classes. The parking lot being gravel and muddy in the winter and spring, something we're working on. It's a constant try anyway. The late work policy is harsh, and then being consistent on the enforcement of the cell phone policy. So hopefully when we fix that, we'll do all those things. So things that they advise you to do, our seniors: be involved. Don't just join a club, be an officer. Take college classes, don't slack off. Try things that scare you, work hard, and be on time. Those are pretty much there's other questions that we ask, but they won't impart a lot for you. So my advice from them, and the reason we have what's going on, Mrs. Comstock will talk to you about all the different clubs and things that are here. We have high school students that, just like you, they don't start for another couple weeks yet, but they're here to encourage you to get involved in all the different clubs and activities that we have. If you're a softball player, that's already started. If you're a football player, that's already started. But these are things that will probably take you further than the athletics will. Getting involved in clubs, making friendships. You can only I played football on a resume once, right? But you can put down that I was a part of Interact or SAT or FBLA and FFA, and I was an officer and all those things, and you learn great skills and things from those. So I'm going to encourage you, do it all. Get involved. Find the things that you like and love and pursue them as hard and as fast as you can. Because I'm going to tell you, as a dad of a junior now, you go from freshman to junior extraordinarily fast, okay? And the thing that I learned this summer is that two things get you. Car fumes and perfumes, right? So one will get you, and it goes so fast. Moms and dads, you're going to be thinking in 2 years, oh, wow. You blink and they're juniors or seniors. And so the one thing I can tell you, this is my 16th year as an administrator, and I remember when folks walk their kindergartners in, and then they walk them in first grade, and then I quit seeing them in second, and it just gets less and less. Well, I'm going to tell you, you need to be more and more involved today as a high school freshman parent than you've ever been, because they have opportunities to do so much more than they did when they were 5, all right? And so don't take the opportunity to take the time off. Get more involved. The last thing I'm going to share with you, and it's not going to be hard for you to remember, but Putnam County, Putnam CO R1, we have a new school app that hopefully in the next week or so will be fully active. You can have notifications on your child's lunch. It will come to you saying your kid has this $2 left. You can set it up to where it'll tell you if they drop a letter grade, you get to set the amount. So it'll be pretty cool, all right? We eventually will go from School Reach to Parent Link, and so when you start getting the voice messages, they'll be from Parent Link versus School Reach, but Parent Link is who has done our app, and you can download it now. You can log on. It takes a little figuring out, but it's going to be pretty cool, and we hope that just to help us communicate more. We're not getting rid of anything. We're just adding to what we've already done. So does anybody have any questions for me before I hand over? Mrs. Comstock's next.
Thanks, Mr. Howley. Thank you, parents and students, for coming tonight. We have a great turnout. Shows you're interested in your student and your future. And students, I would have to say, the future is yours. You're starting out your high school totally blank slate. You could say you've got a 4.0 GPA, 100% attendance. So it's your choice and your decisions that you make the next 4 years as to what you're going to do, maybe for the rest of your life. So I'm here to talk to you about the A+ program. My name is Mary Comstock. I've been in education a long time. I've had some of you in class, even I see some tonight. So my office is in the superintendent's office. I will meet with a freshman at least twice this year. So I'm going to go over the A+ program, and I will go over it again 2 different times this year. Then I meet with them as sophomores and juniors, because we want all of our kids to get this. The A+ program is a way to go to college and have somebody else pay most of your bill. So college is very expensive, getting more so every year, and it's very doable, all the requirements for A+, which we're going to go over. So the tan sheet is what I want to go over. Put my glasses on. So to get A+ when you graduate, and we do recognize the kids by name at graduation, we have them stand up one by one. First thing is you have to attend an A+ school for 3 years. So at the beginning of your sophomore year, if you move up to Centerville, Iowa, and then move back your junior year, you're out of A+. Okay, it's only a Missouri thing, and so we've had some kids move out of state and come back in, and they're just not eligible. Not my decision, it's the state law. You have to graduate with a 2-point GPA or higher, and that is a C+ average. So kids, you cannot just make C's. You have to make some B's or A's in there. Okay, very, very doable at our school. You have to graduate with 95% attendance. That's about 8 days a year. And I always tell our students when I go talk to them that they don't want to miss 8 days their freshman year and their sophomore year and their junior year. You might want to save some of those. You know, your family might win a cruise or something and you want to be gone. So come to school as much as you can. Teachers hate it when you're gone. It's a pain. Every absence counts. If you are in the hospital with a broken leg or something, it counts. Now, there's one thing we can do, and that is put you on homebound, and we do that every now and then. So if your student has an extenuating, serious thing, just call us up at the school and we'll get it arranged, and that takes care of that. The next one is you need to do 50 hours of tutoring, and we have some students in here who have already got a great start on that or maybe got that done, came in during summer school. A-plus tutoring is a semester class that you can take, and I place you in the elementary, and that's where you go for that period every day, and you just help kids. It's fun. The next one is you have to maintain a record of good citizenship and avoidance of the unlawful use of drugs, including alcohol. This is the most unfun part of my job, but I uphold it to the best of my ability. It is the law, and so if you have some kind of a big issue with the law, you will probably be given a letter that you will be kicked out of A+. You get the chance to appeal that. If there's a big issue at school, discipline records, we look at those also. I always tell kids that if you think of a favorite grandma or an aunt or uncle or somebody who really thinks that you are a neat person, really believes in you, if you would be embarrassed to tell that person that you've just been involved in something, then you probably shouldn't be doing it. That would not be being a good citizen. The next one is, for you freshmen, you have to score advanced or proficient on the end of course exam for Algebra 1, Algebra 2, or Geometry. This came in a few years ago. A-plus coordinators around the state screamed to the heavens, didn't do much good. But we do have teachers who know how to help kids get the test score. So, and I'll work with you as you get to that point. That's ways down the line. When you do all these things, after graduation, and we have some kids that are going to college this fall, and they are using the A+ program. So what they get is they get to go to a junior college or a technical school, and the state pays for their tuition and their fees. So that's a lot of money per year. Now, if you qualify for Pell, the Pell Grant comes first, but it's still not out of your pocket. It does not pay for room and board. But we have kids go to Grand River, they do auto body, auto mechanics. Mr. Halley didn't know about the power sports. Dan Manier, that's what he does. He does the power sports technology. He went to Lynn Tech, and he works for like an ATV, the four-wheelers, motorcycles. Of course, he races too, and is done very well with that. We have students that complete their RN degree. Some kids just go to a two-year school, and then get their AA and with A+ pays, and then they go on to the four-year college. So there's lots of options out there, and I'm always here to answer questions. So you kids, feel free to come by and see me, and I will be usually come in your social studies class and see all of you. This is the A+ agreement. You need to sign it tonight if you can. Parents, if your student isn't here, or students, if your parent isn't here, you put your name on here, give it to me, and I'll get the other signatures, okay? Does anybody have any questions? Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is our club fair. And that's what we've got these tables going on outside. So, freshmen, as you leave here, this door, after Mr. Watt and Ms. Miller talk, you're going to get one of these cards, okay? Print your name on the card because we're giving prizes away. So if you scribble it, I'm not going to be able to read it when we draw your name, okay? So you're eligible for a drawing if you visit all the tables out here and you take your card and they will mark on it or stamp it or do something, okay? We want you to know what freshmen have for opportunities to get involved in something besides school all day long. There's other stuff that's more fun, So grab one of these on the way out. This box right here is what you need to put it in when you're done. And our two prizes, the first grand prize is a free sports pass for the entire school year. If you want to come to any games, anytime, you get in free. You're on the list the entire school year. Second prize, we'll get a shirt from the Booster Club. My student that won it last year, Sierra Gillis, won that last year, and she waited until the Booster Club had just the right shirt. So just sometime during the school year, okay? Does anybody have any questions? So you freshmen, I'll be right out here. When you exit out, you get that card from me and print your name on it, and then you do they've got candy and cookies and all kinds of stuff out there.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Comstock. I am Jeremy Watt. I'm a high school principal. My 11th year as the principal here at Putnam County. Really proud of this place. It's a place where we continue to emphasize and build on the high student expectations that have been given to you in grades K through 8. We have a really strong tradition of outstanding teachers, like Mr. Halley mentioned earlier, great facilities and good parental support. So this is a really good place to be. Mr. Halley mentioned several things that we do to communicate with you, and one of the things we really want our parents to be involved in are conferences, and the conferences this fall for first quarter are on October 23rd from 1 to 7 in the high school gym. Our website has all sorts of information on it, has calendars. The new handbooks will be posted there after our August board meeting here on the 14th. Each month we ask our staff members, K-12, to post an article about things that are going on in their programs in their classrooms. So our website's a really great resource if you want to know what's going on here at school. Mr. Halley mentioned the new app that you can download soon, and we will provide further instructions on that as we get those, and it's called Parent Link. He also mentioned that we'll continue to use School Reach. On the orange demographic sheets that parents filled out tonight, you could put up to 2 phone numbers on that if you'd like for us to contact you with that. Community Connection is a little bit more broad than just the school. It's provided by Farmers Bank, and you can receive weather notifications from our 911 services, as well as school cancellations and changes in athletic events and that sort of thing via Community Connection. And you can sign up for that if you're not already. On the top right corner of our website on the home page, there's a link to that. The parent portal for our student database, SIS, is available, and many of you I heard when you came in said, oh yeah, we already have that, but if you don't, see Mrs. Holland afterward, and there's a white form out there on the table that you can sign so that you can get in and see your students' attendance, their fines and fees, their lunch records, their grades, their homework, that sort of thing. Also, once you sign up for that, you'll receive an email with instructions on how to use the portal once your account has been established. And then if you want for us to communicate with you via email, a lot of teachers, well, I won't say a lot, but several of our teachers utilize that to make parents aware of when tests are coming up. I know I loved it when some of the middle school teachers did that for my oldest child last year, because I wouldn't have known without that. So please, if you would, indicate your email address on those orange forms as well, so we can use that. All right, as Mr. Halley mentioned, our high school cell phone policy has been updated this summer, and like he mentioned, I think too that the students especially will like this. We've always had the philosophy that we don't want to stand in the way of progress, and we don't want to live in the dark ages at Putnam County. We want to be on the cutting edge and do what's going to take our students further and what they're used to and what they need to be used to when they graduate. So beginning with this fall, high school students in the high school building only can use their cell phones not only up to when class starts in the morning, which we put in place 1 or 2 years ago and everybody loved. Now you can use them between classes, so you can check and say, see if a text message from mom, hey, you forgot your uniform, I'm going to bring it to you after school. You can check that between classes, and you can check it at lunch. However, the consequences for using that and teachers have always had the discretion of whether or not students are allowed to use electronic devices in their classroom, and we have a lot of teachers that might use them as a clicker device so they can assess what students know and understand. We have teachers that might have you use Edmodo. The students will know what I'm talking about, parents might not, but there are many instructional uses for technology, and teachers can decide, hey, we're doing that today, or no, we're not doing that today, but they'll make their expectations clear. In class, students, you're expected to have your phones on silent and concealed, and if you don't do that when the teacher expects that you should, they confiscate it. The consequences now are a little bit higher since we've given you more latitude on when you can check them. So for the first offense, your phone's confiscated, you get a warning, your parents notify. The second is a minimum 3-hour detention, and the student can still pick the electronic device up at the end of the day, and we notify the parents again. The third offense is where it really kicks in pretty stout. minimum 2 days ISS, and then if it happened a fourth time, it'd be minimum 2 days OSS, which is not what we want to do. So please help us implement this policy with fidelity as it's intended, and just use your phones and electronic devices the way they should be. With that, too, you'll see some pink signs around the bathrooms that say that devices that take pictures are not allowed in restrooms, or not allowed to be used in restrooms or dressing rooms. So turn them off before you go in. And that's to protect you from any potential criminal allegations, all right? And we'll talk a little bit more about that as I go through my notes. Student dress policies, same as middle school. Keep it appropriate. Gentlemen, when you come in the building, we expect that your hats will be removed. Exposure of underwear, inappropriate, obviously. Sleeveless shirts, they're okay, but you can't have shirts that expose your underwear or that are cut even down all the way down the side, gentlemen. Bare midriffs, spaghetti straps, revealing shirts, short shorts, those things are inappropriate. Your shorts should not be shorter than your fingertips when your arms are extended, so that's different for different people. Your straps need to be 2 fingers wide. Clothing that connotes or suggests obscene slogans, gestures, lyrics, or advertises drugs, alcohol, or tobacco are not permitted at school. And then on our attendance policy, I think everybody's familiar with it now. Last year was new. It used to be that you could miss up to 10 days per semester, and last year we changed that. Now you can only miss no more than 7. So the maximum allowance, 7 days per semester, excused and unexcused both count toward that 7. Letters are generated by our computerized student database as students approach the maximum, and I'll let Mrs. Holland talk about that just here in a second. She mails letters to parents of students to help you understand their status. If you exceed the limit, Ms. Neerham's here tonight. She's our school-based social worker, and she really helps us work with attendance. She will request that you write a letter of appeal. You have 10 days to respond, and then an attendance committee will be convened to hear that appeal. And they make a determination whether or not they should uphold or waive that policy. Mrs. Holland, you want to talk real briefly about the letters?
So the letters are ran every Friday. So if your student was sick all week, they may get 2 letters in 1 week, and one will say first notice, the other one will say second notice. We're going to run letters at 3 days, 5 days, and 6 days, so that they'll have 3 notices before they actually meet the allotment or go over. The one thing I wanted to say about it is attendance is, I know things happen, but especially for those kids that have monthly appointments like orthodontists and so forth, if you try to schedule one in the morning for 1 month and then the afternoon the next month, because we do our attendance on an hourly basis. So you might miss periods 1 through 4 1 month, and then the next month you miss 5 through 8, but you've only missed 1 day. Whereas if you did it both in the morning, you've already missed 2 days. And, and then if you get sick for a few days, you get to that 7 really quickly.
We get more phone calls about those letters than probably anything else. And so just to understand, those are being sent out for your information. And I think each letter says if you go over 7, that's when you would be asked to write an appeal. So if you ever have questions about that, feel free to call, but please understand we're just trying to keep you informed. The code of conduct is found in the student handbook. I think parents are used to that from the middle school. We hand that out to students the first day. Please, parents, sign a form that's in the first day packet stating that you and your student have read, understand, and agreed to abide by that code of conduct. Field trips, students understand that those are a privilege, as well as any other school-sponsored trips. You're expected to let your teachers know of your absences ahead of time. Makeup work should be completed in a timely manner. For example, if you're going to show sheep at the Putnam County Fair, we need for you to bring a note ahead of time and notify your teachers so they can get you the work and let you know what you need to do. If you have any failing grades, we do 2-week grade checks in the high school, very exactly like the middle school. And if you're failing anything during those, when we have those grade checks, then you don't get to go on field trips until the end of the next grading period when your grades are up. Before each school day, freshmen need to report to the Commons before school for first semester, and you can go to your shelf once to drop off your books or belongings right when you get here, and then go straight to the Commons. Second, and that kind of, what that does is it congregates the freshmen, keeps you guys in a supervised environment where teachers are present, and it just kind of helps you make the transition more smooth. Second semester, we do allow freshmen to go to the hallways before school and stay up there. I do want to review the bullying policy, and I just read this every year because I feel like I don't do my due diligence if I don't. So threatening or intimidating a student, including gestures and or bullying, is what constitutes something that we're going to investigate and take very seriously. So bullying, according to state law, means intimidation or harassment that causes a reasonable student to fear for his or her physical safety or property. It may consist of physical actions, including gestures or oral or written communication, and any threat of retaliation or reporting of such acts. It includes acts of extortion, where you're threatening or intimidating somebody for the intent of obtaining money or anything of value from them. Then we added this in our handbook this year, K-12. It says bullying is defined as any unwanted, aggressive behavior or behaviors by another youth or group of youths that involves an observed or perceived power imbalance and is repeated multiple times or is highly likely to be repeated. What we really want to impress on folks this fall, students should report that bullying or perceived bullying immediately to the nearest staff member, because we can't fix something that we don't know about. And also, we have a written complaint form that we want students to fill out in the principal's offices. We'll investigate allegations of that nature, and any resulting suspensions will begin after a determination has been made. Students who violate this policy are subject to a 3 to 30-day out-of-school suspension for the first offense. Administrators will investigate allegations, and the suspension will begin subsequently, like mentioned. If it happens again, a suspension of up to 180 days could be the result. And then back to taking pictures in restrooms or dressing rooms. If there is a nexus or connection to an infraction that occurs at school, it will result in discipline. We don't want for you guys to have something on your criminal record for the rest of your life. And that's been documented and happened in numerous cases throughout the United States. So don't let it happen here. MSHA Citizenship Bylaw 212 is their citizenship statement. We are a MSHA school, Missouri State High School Activities Association. And basically you need to know this. If you commit an act for which charges could or may be filed by law enforcement under any municipal ordinance, misdemeanor, or felony statute, you need to report it to us. If you're involved in MSHA activities and we find out about that before you've been a self-reporter, then you're automatically subject to up to a 365-day suspension from those MSHA activities. That's not our rule. That's the member schools from the Missouri State High School Activities Association. So we try to use a little bit of reason there. You know, if we hear of something 2 hours after you've done it, we try to give you 24 hours to come let us know. But please let us know so that we can help you work through that and figure out what your next steps are. Some other things that are in that same MSHA bylaw: a student who violates a local school policy is ineligible until completion of the prescribed school penalties. The eligibility of a school or of a student who is serving detention or ISS shall be determined by local authorities. A student shall not be considered eligible while serving OSS. Each individual school has the authority to set more restrictive citizenship standards, and each school shall diligently and completely investigate any issue that could affect student eligibility. Everybody in here is probably familiar with the acceptable use policy, which must be signed annually before complete district computer use is allowed. We allow from last year, if you had one on file and signed, for that to carry over till probably about when the fair ends. So please get those signed and returned to us as quickly as possible so that your student's not missing out on being able to do coursework. If you don't want to sign one of those, you don't want your child using the computers here at school, please make sure that you make us aware and teachers can come up with alternative assignments. Safety is an utmost concern for our school district. Food and drink are not permitted outside the commons, like Mr. Halley said earlier, despite our graduating seniors' wishes. And that's really in the interest of student safety. We've had foreign substances introduced to students' food or drink in the past, and that's not something that we take lightly. So food or drink needs to be in the high school commons only, unless it's under the direct supervision of your teachers for some special occasion. And the rationale, the faculty members provide an extra eye of protection against that before school in the commons each day. Lunch policy, no different than the middle school. Please keep your balances below $20. If it exceeds that, you'll be asked to bring cash each day or a lunch from home. If neither happens, then an alternate lunch will be served and your account is charged $1 for an alternate lunch. Unpaid bills can result in loss of privileges. You need to have your bills and obligations down below $50, with the exception if you've bought a netbook computer from the school district, you just need to be up to date and current on your payments for those to attend dances. And before we issue a cap and gown, your balance has to be 0 for graduation. We do a lot of things to work with students to help them achieve their potential. If you are earning a D or an F during any of our grade checks, we provide tutoring during advisory period each day. And if you're participating in a MISHA activity and you're currently earning an F, then you don't have any participation or performance for that activity until 5 tutoring sessions are completed. You are still permitted during that time to practice with your team or squad. Tonight, you will pick a shelf up in the freshman hall, which is to the north of the high school office. There's a table with a sign-up sheet, and you just need to pick a shelf number and put your name next to it there for us. That will help us if you're ever absent. We need to get your homework gathered for your parents. It's a good way for us to be able to do that. When I moved to Putnam County, I was just shocked that they had shelves and not lockers. But as a student, I found that there were very few problems with having shelves, and as an administrator, very few problems having shelves. If people will abide by a few certain guidelines, and the number one is keep valuable things at home. Don't leave a $200 pair of shoes on the shelves. Those are to be stored by your PE teacher, and we do that. So if you don't like how your PE teacher does that, then we will issue you a locker or a bin for that. And so there's no need to put things that are super valuable out there. The school cannot be held responsible for lost or stolen items. If something is lost or stolen, we'll do our due diligence in trying to help you find that. But please take responsibility for your valuables. If you do have something here at school, make sure a staff member could hold on to it for you or lock it up if you are not able to have it with you at all times. Student information packets, like I said, will go out first day of school, and we'd like to have everything signed and returned by August 29th. Something that is very important to us are the emergency medical release forms. What color are they this year? Okay, we think they're purple. They're cardstock, and they're like a third sheet of paper. And we really would like to have those, and those must be on file before you ride a bus to any school event, because if we had an emergency, we need to be able to take appropriate action. On the first day when you get here, we want the students to report to the gym when the first bell rings. We may even start moving you that direction before the first bell rings. And what we'll do is go over the student handbook a little bit briefly there, and you'll get a new copy of your schedule. So tonight you're going to get a copy of your schedule. I've seen several of you checking it on the portal. I think that's great. If there's something that is not right or that you'd like to make a change on, let Ms. Miller know that tonight. Once you have a chance to take a look at it, you'll get a new one the first day, even if you don't make changes. And if we don't get it right, you have class changes during the first week of school. So we have a sign-up sheet outside Miss Miller's office. We ask that you go to your first day of classes first and then sign up. And she'll work through that with seniors, juniors, sophomores, and then freshmen making class changes. After we're done in here, you can do a couple of things. Mrs. Comstock wants you to participate in the career fair, and you need to do that. You need to sign up for your shelf up near the high school office. If you would, stop by across from Mrs. Partridge's room in high school room 13. I think Mr. Wolf is our new science teacher, and I'm pretty sure that he stayed late this evening so that he could meet with students and parents, as he'll have classes with you for science this year. You're going to take a class called Physics First. It's our replacement for physical science. It's the same thing as physical science, except that it's more hands-on, and he has some nice lab equipment that we're going to utilize this year for that class. On your schedule, if you have Mr. Godfrey for Intro to Building Trades, you'll meet him in the high school commons. So the room number on there is COMM, stands for Commons. And Mr. Bailey teaches 3 algebra classes for high school, although his regular location is down here in the middle school. His first 2 algebra classes are in the high school, periods 1 and 2, and then he has a 7th period high school class that will meet down here in his middle school classroom. So make sure if you're in his 7th period class, your phone's off whenever you come down here, because the policy, like I said, is for high school students in the high school building only. So you can't have your phones out in the middle school between classes. All right, school supplies is a frequent question asked as you come into high school. Really no different than in middle school. If you'll just have a notebook for each class and some loose leaf or spiral notebooks with paper in them and a pen, pencils, just your basic supplies. Your teachers will let you know on the first day if you need something special. If you're going to be in Physics First, I'm willing to bet Mr. Wolf would like for you to have a scientific calculator. Doesn't have to be fancy. A $10 one will do. But that is something I would recommend during your high school career. If you plan to go on and take pre-calculus or college algebra, you might want to go ahead and get a fancy TI calculator, like an 83 plus is what they use. Any questions that I can answer right now for parents or students alike? Okay, Ms. Miller, do you want the freshman football players first? Is that how you want to? You want all the freshmen? Okay, so as you exit, you're going to get the paper from Mrs. Comstock, and you're going to get your schedule from Ms. Miller. Thank you for being here tonight.
This and other school programs available on DVD at any building office.